My name is Matt Beth and I am a doctoral student at Auburn University. You are listening to a computerized voice say this right now because I am physically unable to talk myself. That is because that is one of my very many disabilities. I have a plethora of disabilities because I am a survivor of a traumatic brain injury. I sustained my brain injury by falling off the roof of a 3-story building. The doctors told my parents that I wouldn't make it through the night, but oxygen still fills my lungs 5 years later. My brain injury rendered me physically unable to talk, walk, or use the left half of my body. Initially, I also physically couldn't even breathe or eat on my own, but I was able to overcome those things. It may sound pretty insane for me to say that despite all of this, I feel incredibly fortunate. I feel this way for a couple of reasons. First, there is no logical reason why I am still alive today. So, I am thankful simply just to be alive. Second, it is absolutely unheard of for a brain injury survivor to not also have mental and/or emotional disabilities, and yet I was an anomaly and was only affected physically. Due to the very common occurrence of cognitive disabilities resulting from a brain injury, my doctors blatantly told me that I could never do college. However, I refused to let the prognosis dictate my future. I enrolled at Auburn University and graduated summa cum laude with my bachelor's degree in exercise science. During my time as an undergrad, both Auburn University as a whole and specifically the School of Kinesiology were very gracious and accepting of my physical disabilities. Collectively, they granted me a multitude of academic accommodations and made sure that everything, everywhere, was accessible for me. I enjoyed my undergraduate experience at Auburn University in the School of Kinesiology so much that I decided to extend my education at Auburn University and earn my master's degree in exercise science there. Very unfortunately, my hardship did not end with my brain injury. At my bachelor's graduation, there was quite a peculiar accident. Ultimately, this resulted in my neck being fractured, CSF leaking from my ear, and me spending a week and a half in the hospital. Very fortunately for me, this occurred while the world was shutting down because of the pandemic, so all of my master's classes were already going to be virtual. So, I actually began my master's endeavors virtually from my hospital bed. I emailed my various teachers in the School of Kinesiology to let them know the situation that was going on, and they were all very flexible with assignments and deadlines, and made sure that I had whatever I needed to succeed. Because of their kindness and my determination to work hard, I was able to pass all of my comprehensive exams and graduate from my master's with a 3.97 GPA. I still wasn't done with the School of Kinesiology though. Despite the early prognosis for my educational future, I decided to keep moving forward with my education and work towards earning my PhD. I did this with the mindset of eventually having the doctors that doubted me refer to me as Dr. Matt Beth. So I joined the Locomotor and Movement Control Laboratory at Auburn University. The Auburn School of Kinesiology remained steadfast in its commitment to making everything accessible for my wheelchair and I. Within the doctoral program, we each get a desk on campus to do our work at. Before even beginning my doctoral program, both the director and the assistant director of the School of Kinesiology met with me. They ensured that all walkways had enough room for my wheelchair and I made sure that I had a desk close to one of the doors so that I could access my desk more easily, removed the regular chair that accompanied the desk so that I could remain in my wheelchair while at my desk, and they raised my desk so that the armrests of my wheelchair would fit underneath the desktop. The perspective of others is something that has given me trouble, and it is yet another thing that they have helped me with. With my immense amount of physical disabilities, it's very easy for people just to assume that I'm not smart or all with it. So people often talk to me with slow and raised voices, not knowing that in reality, I'm actually a pretty bright doctoral student. The Auburn University College of Education and the School of Kinesiology have actively combated this by writing multiple articles and stories about me. These stories recognize my academic prowess and what all I have overcome to be here. These stories have been published and dispersed to all my fellow students and staff to read themselves. This brings us to present day, and I am currently completing my doctorate. It's hard to imagine anything different that I would want the Auburn School of Kinesiology to do to help me be successful. They have already gone above and beyond all my hopes and expectations. I'd only hope that they continue to make everything accessible for me and continue to be an advocate for me.